few more questions?
Sure.
Oh, bless your heart. Have to take this. I have to take that? Okay. No, we are readoutnews.com out of North Idaho, and we're teaming up here with Revolution Radio, and you are live. So, I kind of want to talk a little bit more about the town. In the week that I've been here, it does seem like there is a shift towards your position. Absolutely. There's still a division. There's still, always going to be a division. You know, but I think it's actually swung the pendulum a little bit past the halfway point at this time. You wouldn't necessarily see it from last night's meeting. You know, to stop your First Amendment rights and wouldn't let you speak and things like that.
The interesting thing is most people don't understand, but there was another meeting where there was over 400 people, and they were in, open support of what we're doing. And the county, well, Grassley, I shouldn't say the county, but Doug Grassley and the sheriff, they held another meeting, and they even moved it up an hour so that they could try to pull from the meeting we were having. And so the people that were there at that meeting would have been the worst group of people that you could ever have. However, there was still over half of the people, well over half the people, at their meeting that was still in support of us. So the way that we can assess this is there was about 100 people that are against, pretty loud against what we were doing there in that meeting. But there was probably around 600 people that were there all together, and 500 of them were in support. And at least in some measure, and many of them in very open, open support. So, yeah, the tide has definitely turned. Well, and people are beginning to understand why we're here, and they can hope that we might get something done.
The first meeting you were referring to, I think a lot of people learned some of the power that they have, that they back to the government-controlled schools, personally, that's what I know. They don't teach that. Is that the key to all of these issues, you think, is teaching the Constitution in school again the way they used to?
Well, that's the key to maintaining it. But the problem is we have been deteriorated to the point where we have to do some restoration before we can just maintain, because we can't maintain where we're at. It's unsustainable. And so that's what we're doing here. We're getting the rancher back to ranching, the logger back to logging, miner back to mining. We're setting this example of how the federal government does not have control to come down into the state and to control its industries, to control the people. And back up to their cage in Washington, D.C., and begin protecting the people from the outside world, which is their job to do. And that's what we're doing. We're basically enforcing those things. We're either going to get it done or they're going to kill us. And that's because we can't do it. It will not work. It will be much more detrimental to leave it alone than to get it done without that.
I know the Hammonds, and it has extended to the county residents. The discussion part of it around town last night and this morning.
Really? However, the Hammonds are a symptom of a bigger problem. And if we just left at that, if all the people just ended and left that, it would certainly happen again. Mm-hmm. One is the Hammond case itself is setting a precedent. precedent that the federal government can abuse people's, and intimidate them for speaking to other people, that they can take away their property without compensation, without a willing buyer, willing seller, that they can impose cruel and unusual punishment. And also they can put someone twice in jeopardy. They can try and put them in prison, and then they do that sentence, they come out, they get with their families, get back to their life, and then 2 years later they put them back in prison for the remainder of 5 years. This is all setting a precedent that is very dangerous. And so even if we just ended with the Hammonds coming, said it best, this is not just about us. This is a much bigger problem.
But you have had some effect on the county. I understand the BLM office is closed now.
Oh, yeah. The county, the U.S. Forest Service offices are closed. This is closed. What we've done is we broke the chains. And as long as they don't come back, because they're all unconstitutional, they're all breaking the law in what they're doing. As long as they choose it. They just have to choose to begin to use their land as appropriate to them, as established by their forefathers. Use it and not get back into the signing contract and buying to win a competition. And so we broke the chains. Now it's up to them to keep those chains off.
One last thing. Do you have a message to Judge Grasty or Sheriff Ward?
I really don't, because other than, I've talked to them a lot. And my energy and effort was spent in getting them to defend individual rights. And all they have done up to this point is proven that the only thing they're going to defend is government. I mean, that's all they've defended at this point. And even all those men downtown boarding off all of the county courthouses and all of the equipment, all it is an effort to protect government. And yet now that the Hammonds go to prison, they did not one thing. In fact, Grasty not once ever even had a conversation with the Hammonds about it. The sheriff didn't either until I got a meeting together and actually got them to come together and meet.
Really?
And still to this day, Judge Grasty or the sheriff has never gone out to where the fires are at. They've never gone to the ranch. Never, ever gone to the ranch. And they've never even gone down to their house to Dwight and Susie's house in town, which is only 4 blocks from the county building. So that just shows how much they care. They do not care about protecting people. They only care about protecting and defending government. And that is a problem we have. It's a big problem. Because they were organized to protect people, not organized to protect themselves.
Are the Hammonds, the ladies, are they getting all the help that they need?
They are. They're getting a lot of help, support, people going out to the ranch. That doesn't, they have children, they have loved ones, they have grandchildren. And you know how it is. I mean, can you imagine not being able to be with them for years? Dwight's going to be 79 years old when he comes out. And 5 years of his life been stolen from him, away from his grandchildren. He already had to work literally his guts out to try to pay for the $400,000 fine. He was driving a truck 15, 16 hours just to pay before he went to prison so that they wouldn't lose the ranch. And then off of that, during the court proceedings, they made them sign first right of refusal. So if they couldn't pay the fine, the federal government was the only one that they could sell it to. And then they put on top of that, they put a mandate on them that they could not buy and sell anything more than $500 without the government's permission. That's where they're at right now. And then the Hammonds have spent upwards to $1 million in their defense. They've completely ruined this family as far as financially, and they've broke them to the point where they just have almost given up. And it's a tremendous injustice that they placed on them. It's even hard to talk about.
Well, I'll be honest with you. When I first came out here, I wasn't sure. You know, I was one of those people that the whole reason I came out here is because all I knew was what the mainstream media was coming
Sure.
out, and we wanted to know more. We wanted to know a little bit more of the truth. And I've got to encourage everybody to come out and see this because it's a lot different when you're here. You know, when you can actually talk to the people in town and you can talk to the people here. I was telling everybody I actually feel safer here at the refuge than I do in
A
town.
lot of people have said that.
Yeah.
They feel a lot safer, and that's because what they did downtown, they're trying to make you afraid. You know, keep the people divided against uniting with what happened here. It's very interesting what has happened. It's
very and transparent breeds trust. You're all very transparent here.
Yeah, our policy is sunlight is the best disinfectant, and we're very open. We talk, we explain, but go try to do that downtown.
No, I've been shut down quite a bit.
Yeah, you can't. They got metal detectors, chain link fences, and armed guards just to go in there and just to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Here we're free. We've had hundreds of people, from the community come, the media, very open, very, loving and supportive. And that's one of the things that, Judge Grassley and Sheriff Ward don't understand, that you don't unite people through force and fear. You can force them to try to be united. They might look like they're united. You unite people through agency and through love and through caring for people, and that's how you unite. That's what we have here. We're united. We have a job to do, and we're working hard to get it done. So,
well, I think you're doing a great job. I really do, and I think the people in town are starting to see all the positive effects for it.
Yeah, I hope
so. I do. I know you're tired, so I'm going to thank you, and I'm going to let you go.
Thank you very much.
No, give me a hug. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.